Welcome to Texas Auto Channel. If you're new here, definitely click that subscribe button. So in this video, I'm going to be installing the AC and power steering bypass pulley setup. I used this in the past on my other K-swap. Worked really well. It was real cheap. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get one. But before we install this and the belt on here, I wanted to go over some things. I ended up getting a package from Watson Synthetics, so huge shout out to Watson Synthetics for another care package. Greatly appreciate it. Gave me a bunch of AMSOIL so I can put AMSOIL in the K series and do another oil change on the TL. So huge shout out again. Definitely go check that information out. It's in the description. So yeah, greatly appreciate it. Also decided while I was at it to go ahead and just get a brand new clutch and pressure plate instead of using the one from the junkyard. So I went ahead and got this kit. Link is in the description for this exact kit. It's really nice construction and it looks like it should handle some power for sure. So definitely check that link out as well if you are curious. It is an RX-8 clutch since this is an RX-8 transmission, but I went ahead and installed that. Did most of it off camera, but it recorded a little bit for you guys. So now that's all installed and in here, we also got the starter put in, and yeah, now we're making some progress for sure. Now for the exhaust manifold, a lot of people were saying just put the turbo setup on it. There's multiple reasons as to why I'm not putting the turbo setup on right away. First reason is cost. I want to get this thing running before anything, so I'm not worried about all the turbo stuff. But it did give me an idea, and I talked to my buddy Matt. We had a great idea. It's a solid plan. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy a turbo manifold, just a little log manifold, because it's the cheapest option I have. And then we're gonna have the adapter plate sit on top of the log manifold, and then a custom exhaust tube running down. I'll have a block off plate for where the wastegate goes. That way I don't have to buy a $500 swap header just to remove it when I put the turbo kit on. So I'll be using the same turbo manifold once I'm turboed. But I like to get the engine running all motor, make sure there's no issues whatsoever, then turbo it. So that way I'm not putting a turbo on, we have issues and we're like, is this turbo related? I can't tell. So I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to do what I can in a cost-effective kind of way. So definitely going to be running a turbo manifold on an all-motor setup. That'll be interesting. So once I get the funds for that, I'll do that. And I still have to get the intake manifold, wiring harness, computer, and a bunch of other little things. This is the factory location on the Mazda truck for the ECU. I already took the ECU out. It's a little waterproof thing in there. It's pretty cool. I think this is where I'm gonna actually shove the ECU whenever I put the K-Series ECU on, and make sure it's extra waterproof. That way we don't have any issues. That's just pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and set you guys up on the tripod, install this. It shouldn't take very long. Then we'll definitely go over some more stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button and hit that like button while you're at it. So there we go. All right, so when installing the bypass pulley, it doesn't come pre-assembled like I have it here. It's basically just a nut on the back. There's a Allen bolt that goes to the front with a washer, and then the pulley goes on this little piece here. Now, every time I've got this kit, this little piece needs kind of hammered onto the bearing in there. It's not a big deal. You just tap it on and it's good to go. Everything works fine. Just wanted to point that out. It also comes with the hardware needed so that we can install it. We're basically just going to put the Allen wrench bolts in the factory locations here. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten them down with a number 6 Allen bit. It's really simple. I like to just snug them up real tight. I'm sure there's a proper torque spec, but never had an issue, so this is just what I do. Just get them nice and snugged up there. Okay, this is how the belt routing goes. Just like that. Once we get it to that point, we'll put less tension on it. Pull the belt the rest of the way up. All right. Okay, this is how it looks. So if you need a diagram, go ahead and pause it on screen. It basically just goes like this. And yeah, now we officially have a belt, an alternator, water pump, all that should be working perfectly whenever we get it running. So like I said, I still need that intake manifold that goes over this direction. And the reason I'm deciding to go with the K-powered intake manifold, which is a little bit more expensive, unfortunately, is it actually has proper clearance for this piece right here. So that's the reason I'm going with that. They have different designs of these. They have ones that go all the way down here. Those ones are great for clearance issues, but this is the one that I could afford and the one that I like. Obviously, I'd like to get a different style of intake manifold, one that's way cheaper, but it is what it is, especially when you're doing something custom like this that hasn't been done in a Mazda B2300. There's kind of no rule book to go off of or cheat sheet. So, but wanted to point out the fuel line is right here, which is really cool because it'll run right over to the fuel rail. Just basically got to put a little worm clamp on it. This is the evap for emission stuff, which I might actually run. We'll see. So that goes to the tank as well. Then obviously we've got stuff like brake booster, which will go to the intake manifold. All this stuff is in like the perfect location. This is the factory wiring harness loom, so like I will have to tap into parts of this for like reverse lights, stuff like that, and a few other things that go on the dash. Also, if you didn't see, I removed the mount down there because I'm gonna just make a bracket that goes directly to the frame. That bolt I have sticking through the hole, I'm probably gonna weld as like a stud because it is really hard to get to that area to bolt it in. Now, in order to get to that, you have to remove the lowering spring, which really sucked to do. So that's why I just decided to put a bolt through it and that nut on it so it don't fall through. And then I'm just gonna weld that in place and build my bracket around that. I still have to get the part that goes right here that swivels so that I have clearance, but definitely making some progress for sure. I still have to cut the hole, which is not a big issue. I actually found where it's going to be at, and it's actually not going to be in the way. So I'll just have to have the driver's seat scooted all the way back, and the shifter will be right there to where I can shift. So that should work out well. I'll end up cutting the hole and getting all the shifter ran through there. And then I still got to hunt down a wiring harness that's affordable enough and an ECU. Then I have to get the adapter harness so that I can adapt it to the truck, which they don't make one, so I'm going to be using a universal kit. But huge improvement. I am super happy with how it's turning out. And I greatly appreciate you guys for sharing the video around, hitting that like button, and subscribing to the channel. Also, Collins Performance sent me a sticker and a couple shirts, which I am super grateful for. Huge shout out to Collins. They didn't have to do that. I'm not sponsored by them, but I greatly appreciate the care package. You guys are awesome, and I am super thankful for everybody who has donated. You guys are making this go a lot quicker. So the more donations I get, the quicker I can get this thing going. But greatly appreciated for each and every one of you who just watched the video to the end without skipping around. That helps just as much as a donation. But in the next video, I am going to try and get the catch can installed on the valve cover without welding. Now, I did get these little adapters right here, which are the dash 10 fittings that you can actually thread in. So I'll basically just be drilling a hole in the valve cover and putting one of the thread ends on both sides. Now, if I had access to an aluminum welder, I'd get them welded in while I was at it, but I don't have access to one. And most of the people around that I've asked, they don't feel comfortable welding on the valve cover. So that kind of sucks, but not a big deal. We can put some gasket maker around the threads on this side that go into the valve cover. That way it has a little oil-proof seal so it won't leak, and then probably put the catch can over here. So definitely have stuff coming, so definitely subscribe. And before too long, the truck is going to be repainted, so definitely go over to More Motorsports YouTube channel because that's where that will be happening. And greatly appreciate you guys watching the video. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I've got to go do some things, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As I like to say, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.